Have you ever been pissed off that everyone around you misinterprets you? Why is there always so much confusion with communications to others? Do you wish it was easier to understand other people? What if we could assess other people's thoughts just by reading their eyes? Well, we can't, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. However, there is a way to understand other human behavior by way of knowing their personality. By the end of this video, you'll be able to handle people who are difficult to deal with and understand people's personality types so you can engage with confidence in any situation. All right, the polite thing to do now is hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get into it. Sometimes what we say and what we mean is different from what is understood, and it can be challenging and hard to let other people know really what you mean in a proper way. Whenever we say something to other people, it can be understood in different ways. It has to go through their frame of reference, their biases, their preconceived ideas. And ultimately, what they understand is based on their experience and their perceived notion of what you said. It can even get harder if you have different language barriers and you're not completely comfortable with the new language you're learning, or the other way around. Instead of getting frustrated by this and jumping into conclusions that everyone around us are idiots, we can be flexible. We can learn to communicate in a way that fits the other person's personality, and in that way be able to deal with different types of situations, different type of people. If our message is not optimized to the person that needs to hear it and understand it in the same way that we intended it to, it can easily be misinterpreted, or even worse, they're just not going to listen to you. What I can guarantee you is that we can become so much more effective in our communication. Remember, the richness of your communication is the richness of your life. So once you know another person's personality type, you can guess how they're going to think, and you can even sometimes predict how they're going to act in certain situations. Before we discuss further, let me make this clear. I mean, you can't be 100% sure of someone's behavior based on their personality type. It all depends on the situation, and time can sometimes change how people react and how people's behavior come across. Often behavioral experts, they think they've figured it all out, but that's not true. People, they change, they grow, and personality and behavior is so complex that there's so many factors, so we're not going to be able to know it all. And people can sometimes act irrationally in different situations. So just because you know the basis of someone's personality type doesn't mean that you can predict their future. So today, to make it the most simple and boil it down to only 4 different personality types, we'll cover the red, the blue, the yellow, and the green. And now we'll discuss these 4 different types, and you can think of which one you might fall under and which personality type resonates the most with you. Red. You are red if you're bold and dominant. If you see someone who loves taking action and loves to win, it's a red. You might have a friend or a colleague, and they're not shying away from challenging tasks. And when you work with them, when you do stuff with them, they're always the first one to go. Reds, they don't care too much about relationships. They're more task-oriented. So if you want to build a relationship and you're not really goal-oriented and in that same headspace, you might have a hard time connecting with a red. Most reds, they are full of energy and full of enthusiasm. And to them, people's goals are the most important thing. They want to do it fast, they want to get there quick, they want to do it as efficient as humanly possible. You can figure out a red by judging their confidence level. You'll see a red and they normally have a great confidence level and they take great pride in themselves. Reds, they don't need your opinion on anything. As soon as they make up their mind and they believe it's the right thing to do, they'll just go ahead and do it. They always stand out from the competition and they are fearless. They always take action, even when it's risky and other people might not go ahead. One of the problems with Reds is that they don't really give a damn about what people think of them especially. So if you say something and they feel it's illogical, they'll just say it, they'll point it out. And this is one of the reasons that Reds, they don't have a lot of friends normally, because they're very harsh. At least they can come across very harsh, especially if you don't understand them. It might be difficult for you to deal with a red person if you are introverted or more shy, because the red, they see shyness as weakness most of the time. Reds, they're action takers and they don't waste time analyzing and looking at the details before making bold moves. Most Reds have a strong ego and they're serious about it. So be ready. If you hurt their ego in any way, they might get aggressive and you might feel that aggression. Sometimes people can fear the Reds and it can be difficult to have conversations. They might come across very intense and aggressive. But regardless, the Red can become a fearless leader because their strength is to focus on their goals, to focus on their purpose, and they can be motivating for everyone around them. Some people, they might think that the Reds are kind of foolish to just jump into things without thinking about it. The Reds, they might say, well, where is the adventure if we're wasting time thinking of it? The Yellow. You're a yellow if you talk too much. Yellows are the type of people you would want to have company with. They're creative, they're funny, and they just love talking so much. Yellows are the best if you feel alone and you want to talk with someone. They love to give advice. They have a lot of opinion. They love to talk with you. And they can always encourage you and make you happy again. You want to hire a yellow if you've stopped brainstorming for a project and need more inspiration. Yellows, they care much more about relationships. They want to have as many friends as possible and they want to have friends all around them to be happy, so they're happy. This doesn't mean that yellows are ideal. They have their flaws. Like if you give a yellow a job to do, they'll waste more time discussing about it. If you give them a job where they need to do some work, they might be discussing it and having fun and talking about it with all of their colleagues. Whereas if you give it to a Red, they'll just jump right in at the task and see how quick they can get it completed. Yellows can also be less productive, especially when they lack focus. This is why sometimes we see yellows jumping from one things to the next things and from one job to the next job. Such people are not entirely focused on anything. They may help improve the workplace, bring up the spirit, make people a little bit more happy in the moment, but it also decreases the whole entire team's workflow and the capacity of what they can achieve. It is difficult for yellows to work with serious people. They seek more fun and enjoyment and having a bit of fun while you're doing the work. Some might even get a bit offended and wonder when a yellow will stop talking. And yellows, they talk a lot and listen even less. So no wonder, no surprise. Do not rely on a yellow if the task requires listening with patience. As we know, they don't like boredom, and most job of a high income requires patience and focus, so this is a hard one for the yellows as well. Yellows, they hate feedback, and it can be very hard to make them listen to you. They care so much about how they look in the eyes of their friends and other people. The green. You're a green if you love stability in your life over anything else. So far we've discussed the reds and the yellow, but they're not really that common. Most of the population consists of greens. There is a reason why 92% of people who set New Year goals never achieve them. Because people don't like change. And if you don't like change, you're not going to take the right actions to change your future to reach your goals. A green is someone who loves stability and avoids risk. Don't give a job to a green that involves any type of risk, as they'll completely avoid it. These people, they'll only go for a drive when the sky is clear and there's less traffic. These people will go to great length to make sure there's no risk for them before they do any actions. There's nothing wrong with stability and safety, is there? No. But the problem is when we go to great length to make sure to get this and never take any risks to grow and to get out of our comfort zone. The truth is, we live in uncertain times and you can't expect certainty in every situation as a green. But you know the best part is that greens are extremely loyal. If you have to assign a job for a green, make sure you outline it in detail. As we know, the greens, they want stability. They have their routine. They don't like change. So make sure everything is clear and everything they know what to do, they can follow it, and you'll have a great job done. The greens, they always think, how can I make this comfortable? How can I make this safe for me? And this thinking of trying to be safe, trying to be cautious, this sometimes come across, especially for the reds, as weakness and as if you're not doing anything, you're not taking any risk. The greens, they care what other people think, and they can also be a bit undecisive. If they're indecisive, they'll take other people's opinion and they'll listen to others and they'll support the others. And this is one of the great qualities of the green. You'll always have your number one supporter. The blue. You're a blue if you're more introverted and more analytical. Blues, they don't talk much, unlike the yellows. If you like to sit in a corner and just analyze and watch other people and the whole situation, congratulations, you're a blue. Since most blues are introverts, they have more time to analyze and go in details. And this is also a fact because they remember things more. They have more time going into the details and they'll remember those details and they'll definitely point them out to you. Have you seen the guy in college that takes notes very diligently and he even takes the extra classes that everybody else finds boring? Well, that's a blue for you right there. Most blues, they feel uncomfortable around people they don't know. They're just not that social. So if you're gonna have a conversation with a blue, make sure to do your homework. Blues, they don't like to discuss all the funny stuff that the yellow find interesting. They want to dig deeper, have more details. But again, remember, blues, they're more introverted. Most university toppers, they're blue. If any project involves a lot of data and details, well, this is where the blue will get to the top. You might have the reds jump in and trying to take the project first, but usually they're not going to be as diligent as a blue will be. Although blue might have supreme, detailed and analytical capabilities, they might offend other people because they don't have the social skills and the skills to have friendly conversations. Also, blue people, they like to do everything systematically. They prefer order, just like the greens, except they want it to be perfect. They're perfectionists. Good enough is just not good enough. The blue, they want perfection. They'll try to bring perfection to every job they do. But the problem here is that nothing is perfect. This obsession focusing on perfection sometimes stops the blue from finishing on time and actually completing the works. This is not a good thing. If you're working in a group with 2 or more people and the project needs to be done on a specific time, the blue might spend all the time focusing on details that are not too relevant. What we have to remember is that no color is perfect. There's no better than any other color. We also have to remember that we actually have all of the colors. We just have more of 1 or 2 or 3 or more than the other ones. You may like a particular color based on your beliefs and your mindset. But remember, humans are complex. You can't define a person just based on a single personality. Dividing people into different personality types only gives you a rough idea about their behavior and how they would react to certain situations. But now you might have a better idea of why we do something in one situation and why we would do something in another situation. If you're green and the other person is also green or have green personality traits, chances are that you will get along pretty easy. Well, ideally that makes sense. But remember that the reds with strong egos, they might not always get along, and they might be bound to have conflicts in some kind of way in between those 2 types of personality. The point is, you can't just put people in one box and say that's just how everyone behaves in that box. But what we can do is just behave in a better way, learn to adapt to the different personality types, the different situations, the different reactions. And when you understand them better, you can also react in a better way, that you know they will respond in a better way. And one of the keys is to know yourself in a better way. So ask yourself, am I blue? Am I green? Am I red? Am I yellow? Usually people have 2, maybe 3 colors within them that are the strongest. So have a think, which one can you see yourself in? And if you know which one you are, comment below and we can see what type of personalities we have watching this video. If you're interested in learning more about success in business and in life, make sure to check out the other videos on the channel. The polite thing to do now is hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so you don't miss out on any other videos, so you can achieve your own success and financial freedom. Now keep pushing and make it happen.